Greetings, everyone. My name is Mario Blandini at Drobo, and today's webcast is covering our new Drobo model B1200i, our 12-bay sand storage for business. We appreciate you taking time to get this information from Drobo. And before I get into anything about what Drobo's model B1200i is, I want to just point out that what makes Drobo dramatically different than other solutions in the marketplace for sand storage is the fact that Drobo is easy. And we are really proud of the fact that it's so easy that our instruction manual fits inside the front cover of a Drobo. So odds are that you already know a little bit about Drobo if you're listening to this broadcast. And in the presentation, we'll go through and talk about the specifics of our Drobo model B1200i and what makes it unique. But one of the things that makes it the same is that it has the same really sophisticated ease of use combined with powerful features to make it incredibly easy to integrate into your environment. A quick background for folks who may not know, we've been in business for over 6 years, and we've been shipping products for several years now, and there's over 200,000 users of Drobo across the world. And it's this fact that really brings us to today's presentation, because while we started with small products that were popular amongst creative professionals and small office, home office environments, those products were brought into larger organizations. And over the past year, we've had 8-bay products, and we now have a 12-bay product built because people were taking their Drobos to work with them and using them in IT applications and IT use cases. So we're building upon the foundation of technology that Drobo's developed around our Beyond RAID innovation and putting it into form factors that better meet some of the IT application use cases that you might have. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you several of the ways that our Drobo model B1200i can integrate into your IT environment, whether you're a small business, whether you're a department in a larger organization, or you're looking for a really easy storage solution for your IT environment of a variety of sizes. So I could tell you a lot of stuff, and I hope you can tell that I'm really passionate about Drobo, but rather than take my word for it, you can get information directly from several celebrities that are Drobo users. We have a lot of Drobo owners out there, but folks who use the product in their business on a daily basis have given us some testimonials. One of them is Steve Duplessis, who is the founder and the CEO of Enterprise Strategy Group. He's considered quite notably as the most credible analyst of storage technology on the planet. We're really happy that he loves using a Drobo, not just at his home, but also to support his small business of about 40 employees that use Drobo technology in their own IT environment. If I were to show you here on this slide our Drobo product line, this month in September we are shipping our Drobo model B1200i, and it represents a larger scale solution with some hardware architectural differences for high availability compared to our 8-bay sand storage for business. The 8-bay sand storage for business, as well as the 8-bay file sharing product, have been shipping since the February timeframe. Both of those products are the 2011 model year of some products that exist in Drobo's product line. But the B1200i represents the first time that Drobo is providing scalability up to, as we say here, up to 24 servers, 12 drive bays, but uniquely providing a full rack mount solution without the need of a rack mount kit, providing redundant and swappable components from a power and cooling perspective, which is something new to the Drobo product line, as well as support for different types of drives, specifically SAS drives and solid-state drives in a Drobo. All Drobos are built specifically for SMB IT that work in those environments. We find that lots of larger organizations are using Drobos because they're really easy to use and affordable and meet their application use cases, particularly for backup or Tier 2, Tier 3 storage requirements. With the B1200i, we're expanding on ways that Drobo can fit in a harmonious way into your existing environment, even if you already have another storage vendor that you use for your Tier 1 primary storage in your IT environment. We have a lot of information about Beyond RAID, which I'll hit highlights on throughout today's presentation, but I wanted to point out that the B1200i complements the existing product line, and with its hardware architecture, makes it more applicable as a primary storage device with its dual redundant power supplies and the redundant cooling and other characteristics I'll point out here. Now, hardware-wise, I'll get into the specifics, but from a software innovations perspective, all Drobos have Beyond RAID, and they provide data protection, the ability for you to never worry about a hard drive failure or two hard drives failing if you have the dual disk redundancy enabled. We take care of all of the management of the storage in the back end. So you feed in the disks, follow the lights on the front panel, and never have to worry about exactly how it works. If you're interested, we have a very detailed ebook white paper available at info.drobo.com/ebook that takes you into 30 plus pages of detail about exactly how Beyond RAID works. That is the foundation which allows us to provide the new innovation that we do with our model B1200i. Thin provisioning and thin reclamation are also built into the entire Drobo product line, and it really helps you out in virtualized environments, not having to really think about and commit to the way you're provisioning your storage hardware resources because you have the flexibility that thin provisioning provides. But the newest capability to the Drobo product line, first introduced here with model B1200i, is the concept of automated data-aware tiering. And tiering's a topic that gets a lot of discussion these days because folks are interested in putting the right price performance storage for their application in the right place. Not all of your applications need your tier 1 storage, yet there are some applications that do need better levels of service and better responsiveness, thus they need higher performance storage, and through tiering you can achieve that. And I'll talk about tiering and how we do it at Drobo in a unique way, building on Beyond RAID that really makes it very practical for how a small business IT person or someone in a department in a large organization would be able to take advantage of that capability. But it is something very new and uniquely automated. Like all things Drobo, we take care of it all automatically. And at first, you may not like that. You may be looking for ways to tune it, ways to tweak it, ways to adjust and set up the features that you're interested in using, but it's Drobo's philosophy that we want to automate all of that because we want you to have time to do the more important things that you have going on, because most people would probably agree time's the thing they don't have enough of these days. Now, if you're thinking about different ways to use a Drobo, we've been a fantastic solution in VMware environments as well as small exchange environment and all over the place in terms of backup. The B1200i applies to those use cases, and with automated data-aware tiering for mixed workloads and highly transactional type of applications, the use cases for VMware and Exchange even get better. And as a tiered solution, it provides good price performance and price capacity for backup solutions as well. Before I go on and talk about the automated data-aware tiering, I want to point out that thin provisioning is something that exists in all Drobos, and it, as a part of Beyond RAID technology, allows you to create up to 255 virtualized smart volumes on a Drobo, and you can specify those from sizes between 1 and 16 terabytes each. So even with 12 drive bays, there's no way in heck we can get that much storage physically in the system that you can create virtually through our thin provisioning. And the concept of thin provisioning is to eliminate all the complexity of capacity planning and capacity management, because if you can just set up a virtual large volume in the first place, you grow into it over time and you follow the lights on the Drobo to grow the physical storage as you need. So pay as you grow versus having to forecast and estimate how much you're going to need and procure all the stuff up front. It allows you to really do a lot of capacity planning and roll it out once and grow it in the background over time, because you don't want to have to go out and touch your applications after that. We do it in a very efficient way. All drives in a Drobo are a single drive pool. And it's a concept I wanted to point out prior to getting to the tiering, because with tiering, we provide one single drive pool as well. And it's something that's unique in the way Drobo delivers this solution, and it builds on our Beyond RAID foundation and how our technology starts thin and stays thin with our thin provisioning. Now, being able to tier begins with the concept of having data awareness, or understanding file systems and understanding the underlying data on the hard drives, and in the future across a mixture of hard drives and solid state drives, to understand what the data is and make decisions on where to place that data. All Drobos already do the foundation of this today, which is to place data on drives of potentially mixed sizes to take advantage of all the different capacity. So we have data awareness, so we know where the data is and where the data isn't. That ability in Beyond RAID provides us now a foundation that we can extend to make additional decisions on where we put the data. So if I go to the next slide, I'll talk a little about the hardware and then circle back on how the automated data aware tiering works. This hardware architecture has multiple power supplies, as you can see here, in an N+1 configuration. You can operate the system at full capacity with just one power supply. So having two power supplies there gives you a hot swappable N+1 configuration for higher levels of availability. For most folks looking at a hardware architecture, next to the hard drives, which are the single most common thing to fail, and all Drobos protect you from hard drive failures with our Beyond RAID technology, the next most likely component to fail is the power supply. So having N+1 configuration here gives you higher levels of availability. After that, the fan is the most likely component to potentially fail during the service of the unit. And we have a fan module that if you remove the magnetic back cover, you get access to the fan module, which has 2 rows of 4 fans. Any one of those fans could fail, and we'd give you a fan indicator letting you know that you should replace the fan module. And you have a 5-minute service replacement to replace that out. All Drobos tend to run very, very cool. This particular hardware will be louder than the typical 8-bay and below Drobo, which can sit on a desktop and operate very, very quietly. The fans on this thing will operate at higher speeds, so it's definitely more of a server closet and or your IT room type of product that you would put into a 19-inch rack mount application. So the fans are there, and you can make a service replacement. We also have a modular architecture with our controller. Today's Drobo model B1200i is a single controller system. In the event of needing to replace that, you could do a service replacement in a matter of minutes. The configuration of the Drobo exists on the hard drives themselves, and it's not stored on the controller card. So it makes for a very rapid service replacement process in the event that you need to do a service replacement there. And the system overall is architected for high availability so that future models may offer different configurations. Today's model offers the modular controller architecture. There is an expander card, which should be thought of as a part of the controller assembly. So it is individually and independently swappable in the event that there was a need to do that. But generally think of those two components as being part of the same assembly and serving the overall function as the controller in the system. With the network ports, something new to Drobo is that we have more than 2. In fact, there are 4. 3 of them are dedicated to the SAN operation. They're all gigabit Ethernet. And most likely, folks will have a network design where A SAN of their storage solution will be on one port, the B SAN, another path to the SAN, will be on another port, and they'd use multipathing in their server virtualization or in their operating system environment in order to take advantage of those 2 paths. And the third port can be used for backup or data protection, accessing the storage there in a dedicated way. So you have the 3 ports that are available there and a dedicated port for management. This is something that's new to Drobo, so it allows you to access your Drobo via our management software without that management workstation being on the same network, or the same subnet as the Drobo. So that's an advantage for folks who have a little bit more of a complex network design in a larger organization where they may not have access to their storage network from wherever their management workstation is. So that's a little bit on the hardware architecture. As I go to the next slide and talk a little bit more about it, we're offering this product in 2 configurations. One being a half-full configuration that has 7,200 RPM SAS drives. So I mentioned earlier that the Drobo model B1200i has support for SATA, SAS, as well as solid-state drives. And with our base configuration of 12 terabytes that involves 6 drives, you can build a 30 terabyte configuration by mixing in your own 3 terabyte SAS drives. So Drobo would recommend 7,200 RPM SAS drives to scale the system out. But I'll show you a slide a little bit later that talks about all the different supported drive configurations. In any case, you can get a very high capacity price performance type of solution, price capacity, with the Model B1200i by being able to mix and match whichever drives you prefer and choosing the 3 terabyte drives that are available on the market today. If you wanted to reserve some space for some future solid-state drives, if you wanted to take advantage of our automated data-aware tiering and you wanted to have the application acceleration in the future when you can do that, you could keep 2 of your drive bays available, deploy 24 terabytes today. It's all one drive pool. There's no hot spare. The free space in the system is the hot spare, so you can get high levels of utilization with those drives in the system. And you could select either single or dual disk redundancy. With single disk redundancy and the spot for the 2 SSDs, you can accelerate the applications in the future and not sacrifice on density today. There is a 24 terabyte configuration also available, leveraging the more cost-effective 2 terabyte 7200 RPM SAS drives. And that is, so far in our sales, has been popular. More people are buying the full one than they are buying the half one. A lot of it's because they have a specific use case where they're looking for the benefits of Drobo, being super easy to use, very easy to expand in the future by being able to do inline upgrades by replacing drives, but deploying a large amount of the physical storage today. Now, there is a FRU kit for the Drobo model B1200i. It represents a discount off of buying the individual FRUs independently. And the concept is you're likely to want to have some of those spare parts on site so that you can more quickly get back to a full state versus being in a degraded state in the event of having a fan failure or a power supply failure. If you have those components on site, you can more quickly get back to your full redundant configuration. By having a controller card on site, you can also make your service replacement procedure much quicker in the event of an unlikely controller card replacement need. So Drobo does offer same-day shipment, next-day delivery for our hardware warranty, and we would get that replacement shipped out to you very quickly. You can keep a better level of service and uptime by keeping those field replaceable units on site, and we have those sold individually as well as in a kit at a discount. Now, I mentioned before about smart volumes. Like our 8-bay SAN storage for business, the Drobo model B1200i supports up to 255 virtualized volumes. They are thinly provisioned, so you can make them from 1 terabyte to 16 terabytes. If you need a small volume, you can deploy a 1 terabyte volume, and it would restrict then how much storage that application can consume on the Drobo. But our strategy is to give you the power of thin provisioning so you can set it up once and you'll never have to go back and reconfigure RAID, reconfigure the way the RAID's allocated, reconfigure how the server that's using the storage has its storage allocated. It sees one large volume and it grows into it over time. Saves you a lot of effort in the planning and certainly a lot of effort in the event that you do have to expand because it's already expanded there virtually. You just add storage in the back end as you consume storage within the system. Now, I mentioned before that automated data-aware tiering is a unique feature to Drobo model B1200i. It's a lot of excitement in the industry right now because with the introduction of solid-state drives, there's an opportunity to change the way that storage is architected around providing higher levels of service for transactional applications. And for most people, it's those transactional applications that need the acceleration, that need the extra performance benefit of the storage. But what a lot of folks also have in reality is the need to save money on storage. You could deploy very high performance and higher cost storage for all your storage needs. And you'd get the benefit of the performance, but you'd have to invest a lot more in the hardware. And a lot of people just want to have tiers of storage so they can put data in the right place at the right price point to have a cost-effective solution. With that comes overhead. With that comes administration. And today's tiering solutions, in addition to being usually $50,000 or more, they require you to have dedicated pools of storage, or at least volume groups, RAID groups of certain types of media. And you have to then specifically point your applications at the type of storage that you're interested in using for that service level and manually manage how that happens. Not just at the time of configuration, but over time as the traffic patterns change and the performance levels change for the application. So it requires a lot of tuning and a lot of upfront planning. And for most organizations that have a dedicated storage team, this is something that fits right into their expertise, and they have the time and energy to go about making a solution like that really work for their environment. Drobo, as I mentioned before, is a solution that aims to radically simplify how these things work and make technologies approachable to the small and medium business and the organization that may have a limited IT staff, where the IT staff has to do lots of activities. And for most people, tuning the infrastructure is not what they want to spend most of their time doing. They want to spend time working on optimizing their applications, delivering better levels of service for the applications, and making sure that their strategic plans are all in line and they're doing things like disaster recovery and high availability versus worrying about the infrastructure. So what Drobo's done is we've extended the way our Beyond RAID technology provides data awareness, and as data comes into the Drobo, without any configuration, we will automatically accelerate transactional applications by servicing the writes of a application to the solid-state drives straight away, directly to the solid-state drives. This is different than most tiering solutions, which would first put it on the bulk tier and promote it to the transactional tier after it warms up, learns the frequently requested data, and does its optimizations. Drobo optimizes it straight away. And the big benefit here is you don't have to choose where you point the data. Point it all at the Drobo, and we will make the decision automatically as the data comes into the system, the best optimal place to put the data. The result being you get application acceleration for your transactional applications, and regardless of whether or not you put it on the SSD tier, the transactional tier, or the bulk tier, there is no such thing. The Drobo is a single storage pool, so we will put it inside the storage pool where it gets the best level of service. This makes it really simple, and frankly, in our opinion, makes it approachable for the small business, because in addition to having high cost, if you need to dedicate a whole tier of storage and a whole storage system just to solid-state drives, it's going to be costly and very labor intensive. By having it done automatically and requiring only a very small amount of solid-state storage to be purchased in this common storage pool, you get the benefits of both. You get price performance with the solid-state drives and price capacity with the rest of the system being built out with 7,200 RPM SAS drives. And it really is application driven. If you use the Drobo model B1200i as the storage for an application, as its data patterns change, it automatically responds with putting the data where it needs to go, where it's going to get the best level of service. No administration required. So you focus on your application versus focusing on administering the storage. So this automated aspect of it is really powerful. And I don't mean to belabor it too much, but I want to make sure that folks understand that the way Drobo does this, like all things, is very different than you might expect from the way existing technology works. And we think it's going to change the economics of how storage works for small and medium business, because you need not, with a primary storage device like this, necessarily buy more than one system in order to have effective tiering. And we expect that this is something, particularly in environments of 250 or fewer people, where they want acceleration for their financial database, for their email, and for other critical line of business apps. They can get that without sacrificing the price capacity that is the benefit that Drobo has historically provided. So if you have any additional questions about automated data-aware tiering, we have a bunch more information on our website, and that ebook that I talked about, Drobo Technology Innovations, available at info.drobo.com/ebook, which will provide you a lot more information about how that works. So coming here toward the end, I'll just mention that Drobo is affordable. This product, compared to other ones that do similar functions in the marketplace, is a fraction of the cost. And that also helps with folks that are looking to put solutions together today that want the advanced capabilities and they want sophisticated storage, but they may not be able to invest in that minimum amount required to get into a system that can do that. We have some information here that I'll go through quickly about the evolution of disk drives and drive technology. In the past, if you wanted performance, you went with 15K SAS drives. That was your strategy. Or to go to with fiber channel drives. Going forward, we see the combination of high capacity 7,200 RPM SAS drives, sometimes called nearline SAS drives, as providing the best technology for the bulk tier, and then solid state drives providing the I/O responsiveness and capacities that are superior to 15K SAS drives. So we see that transition as having started here last year and continuing this year on into 2011 and 2012. So Drobo's strategy is to provide SSDs for IOPS in those type of designs. Our carrierless design will require that not all SSDs can work into a Drobo. There are 3.5-inch varieties, and you'll start to see on the market more 3.5-inch MLC SSDs available, and we'll provide information on which of those can be used in a Drobo. But our carrierless design does provide for some need to understand how to put which correct drive into the system. For Drobo, we support SAS or SATA, and 72 RPM SAS drives are the drives that are integrated into our drive bundle when purchasing this particular product. Now, there's a lot of information about which drive might be right for you, both for the Drobo model B1200i and all Drobos. There's a lot of criteria that you can match here, and we have a table on our website that helps you with picking the right drive for your particular Drobo. And we have a 2-page paper as well that describes this particular information. Talking about the B1200i, though, I've highlighted on this table the different rotational speeds. The row that I've highlighted is 7200 RPM, or the drives that are part of the base configuration for a model B1200i. Can you mix 5400 RPMs with them? Yes, and we support that, though there really is not a benefit to doing that. You can get very high capacity enterprise drives at 7200 RPM for a good price still, so most people would probably want to stick with that. You can put 10,000 RPM drives if you want to. We don't necessarily recommend that because it won't result in increased performance. If you have them and you want to take advantage of them because you already own them, by all means, you can put them into a Drobo B1200i. But generally speaking, you're not going to get a lot of benefit from that. And for 15K SAS drives, they certainly work in a model B1200i. But the difference in speed and the nature of their aggressive seeking in a system where the drives are right next to slower spinning drives doesn't make it an ideal solution for mixing those in a Drobo. Technically, they can be made to work together, but it's not our recommendation that you would do that. If you're looking for capacity, you can get a better capacity play with the 7200 RPM drives. And if you're looking for IOPS, solid state drives are the way to go there in terms of mixing and matching that. But this provides you a reference then for the different drives you can pick. If this were a traditional RAID system, we wouldn't have to talk about any of this because there would be a fixed number of drives that are supported. So we give you this information because there is some freedom and flexibility for you to design the right solution for you based on drive combinations. Online, we have a capacity calculator. You can go to drobo.com/calculator and play around with all the different size drives to see exactly what your usage might be, your available capacity. So I'd invite you to go check that out. It's one of the more popular pages on our website, and we have it updated to include our 12-bay SAN storage for business here. We have Drobo dashboard. It's been updated. For folks who do not yet own a Drobo, your first experience to Drobo will be the lights on the front panel, but we also have a management GUI that will allow you to do the initial configuration and other management and monitoring steps that you might need to do when using the system. So new with the B1200i are some enhancements around iSCSI support for Mac. We also provide a more granular device discovery, the ability to put in an IP address and specifically discover a device that way, which will be helpful for some B1200i users, as well as a bunch of other things. And you'll see here that you can manage multiple Drobos very easily with our Drobo dashboard. So we make it as easy, if not arguably easier, to manage multiple Drobos than you would if you had a stack of systems that were connected together with a chassis expansion solution. The storage coming from a Drobo, thinly provisioned and easy to expand, allows you to deliver all those same benefits with centralized management here that you would with a system that would support the chassis expansion. I talked about device discovery, and that's a slide here to show you that you can specify an IP address versus just scan the entire network. As I go to wrap up here and take some questions, thanks folks for sticking with us through our regularly scheduled presentation. We'll remain on the line here to take questions from everyone that they have about the product. But we have on our website a bunch of solutions around small and medium business IT with guest experts from the industry who talk about putting together solutions for that environment where there really isn't a whole lot of information available for most small IT managers who are looking for putting these solutions together. They're available on our website. We invite you to check those out. Some of the key ones that I could point out are for VMware Essentials Plus. The Drobo model B1200i is a perfect fit in that environment as primary storage, giving you the price capacity as well as price performance and hardware architecture that you'd be looking for primary storage. Exchange 2010 is also something that works very well in a Drobo environment. You can have the high availability of the dual power supplies and the capacity of the system there for your Exchange, and use Exchange's database availability groups, which is new for Exchange 2010, to achieve your high availability without the complexity of clustering. If you need to do a disk-to-disk replication solution, it's not built into a Drobo. So with that, we'd recommend a variety of different server-based replication solutions, which are widely available today. Double take availability is an example of one. Veeam Replicator is an example of another if you have a virtualized environment, which allows you to do that replication and automate some of your failover, while Drobo provides the very easy to use, reliable, and powerful storage solution underneath. Veeam Backup, we just presented at VMworld, and probably the most popular area of inquiry was around how to back up with Veeam, the number one data protection product for virtualized environments. And Drobo is certified to work with that, and we have some assets available on our website that can help you with how to set up a Drobo in a Veeam environment. But it works fantastic with a Drobo. Backup Exec from Symantec's also another example that we have had on our website for a while, along with a recorded webcast with an expert from Symantec talking about leveraging Drobo as disk-based backup storage for a Backup Exec server with or without deduplication. If you have any more questions about RAID, and specifically beyond RAID, how Drobo does it differently than traditional storage, to include automated data-aware tiering, we provide a video here on our website. It's about an hour long, and it allows you to navigate through on the right-hand side and pick whichever topics you're most interested in. It combines whiteboarding, some software demo, some hardware demo, and other discussion that gives you a good mixture of different information in a easy-to-consume way that will allow you to understand a little bit more if you want to take it in a more multimedia, video-based approach. The 30-page white paper that we have on our website at info.drobo.com/ebooks, another great way to get additional information on Beyond RAID. So with that, I want to thank you very much for your participation here in the main part of the presentation. We have some questions here that have been asked over the internet. We'll go ahead and address some of those, and I invite you to continue to put your questions in over the internet as we wrap up today's discussion. So the first question, if I have a hard drive that already was used, would I lose that information? And I thank you for that question because it's an important one to understand. A hard drive to Drobo is more than just a unit of measure. It's a container of regions, sectors, clusters, and capacity that we can use in our system. If you introduce a hard drive into a Drobo, we will automatically add it to the storage pool. You don't get a chance to ask whether or not you want it added. It does it all automatically. And based on that automatic operation, you should not install a drive into a Drobo that already has data on it that you want to retain, because that data will no longer be accessible once you do install that drive into a Drobo. So if you have an existing server that maybe you're doing a virtualization project, you're taking the internal drive out of an old server and you're recycling it, putting it into a Drobo, you'd first have to back up the data off of that disk and save it if you want to save it before you put that drive into a Drobo. One way to do it, put 2 drives into a Drobo, get it started. You can copy the data off that drive onto the Drobo, then take that drive and put it in there and automatically expand the capacity of your system. But you do need to be mindful that any data that's on a drive will not be retained when you put it into a Drobo. Very good question, and thank you for that. Next question we have here is about what kind of support do you offer with the B1200i? So what Drobo provides is a standard warranty of 1 year on hardware. We also provide 90 days of complimentary phone support access when you register your system with Drobo. These are the standard warranties. Where required by law, we also have a longer standard hardware warranty. In the United States, it is 1 year. We have availability of Drobo Care, which is our support package for all Drobos. With Drobo Care on the B1200i, you have unlimited access to phone support on a 24/7 basis. Your case is managed centrally, and you can call our various call centers from around the world and get help at any time of the day. and we'll be rolling out in the future the ability to have a follow the sun model where one phone number can get you access on a 24/7 basis. But for now, you do have access there via email as well as by online case management and telephone on a 24-hour basis. You get access to your software updates, and you get the benefit of same-day shipping, next-day delivery for hardware replacement when you're signed up with DroboCare. You can get more information at drobo.com/support, and in the FAQs, get more information on exactly the terms of all the support and where our next-day delivery, same-day shipment is available throughout the world. Next question. Are there tools to replicate data between Drobos at different sites for a DR, or high availability solution? And the answer is that Drobo does not have any kind of replication built into our iSCSI SAN products. Our Drobo model B800FS, our file sharing product, has a capability called Drobo Sync that allows you to sync the files from one Drobo model B800FS to another one offsite. It's a 5-click setup, ultra easy to use, but we're able to do that because we're presenting a file share, CIFS SMB file sharing storage versus iSCSI SAN. With our iSCSI SAN, we are providing the underlying storage, but the file system and the data is managed by the operating system and applications that are using that SAN-based storage. So what Drobo would do is we'd recommend that you use a server-based replication solution, which historically weren't popular because your servers had a lot of constraint around the amount of memory and CPU they had, and maybe even the networking capacity. You had limited networking capacity. These days, with server virtualization, things like your CPU and your memory are quite abundant, and running a server-based software either as a virtual machine in a virtualized environment or running it on your physical server doesn't have the same restrictions that it used to with the realities of today's computing. And a lot of the applications you may already be using have it built in. So whether it's VMware using Site Recovery Manager, whether it's if you're using Veeam Backup and you can use Veeam Replication to replicate to other sites, or if you want to automate some of the recoverability in some of your scenarios for application availability between two sites, products like Double Take availability or Never Fail or ArcServe replication from Computer Associates, formerly Exosoft, those type of applications really fit well. And for most people interested in a Drobo who are also going to be using the Drobo for high availability, the software operation is a more cost-effective way in small-scale solutions and also supports dissimilar replication. So you can replicate from different Drobo models. You can replicate from your current Tier 1 storage to Drobo as a Tier 2 storage and have them be dissimilar using this type of software replication approach. We have a full webcast on this available on Drobo's website at drobo.com/TV. We'll be doing several new replication-oriented DR solution webcasts here between now and the end of 2011 with guest experts from companies like Veeam as well as Double Take. All right, the next question is, what's the performance comparison of iSCSI between our 8-bay SAN and our 12-bay SAN? And I thought that probably be the first question that anybody would ask. I'm glad it did come up. You can think of the scalability characteristics of a Drobo model B1200i as being roughly 3 times what our 8-bay SAN storage for business can provide you. So in our recommendations for the number of exchange users that you can have, where we would recommend 150 fewer users with our model B800i, we can recommend 450 users with our B1200i. Similarly, if you're looking at the amount of IOPS that you can provide in a Drobo, you can expect about 150 IOPS in a full configuration of our model B800i and 450 in our model B1200i. And I want to go back and clarify the number of exchange users would be 100 and 250 respectively, because most of the time you're going to have extra mailboxes associated with the number of employees there. So our recommendations on exchange users would be 100 and 250 respectively. IOPS would be 150 and 450 respectively. And from a throughput perspective, the B800i is not a line rate product. When configured well, it achieves about 90% line rate or 90 megabytes a second with the Drobo B800i. And the B1200i is a line rate product for a single connection, such as a backup server doing backup. So you can drive more than 100 megabytes a second and get the line rate type of performance from a single port on a Drobo model B1200i. So that can give you a little bit of an idea around some sizing guidelines. We'll provide additional color here as we update different solution materials on our website to let you know where the right fit is for both products. We're really anticipating a lot of success with this product for folks who've been using the B800i, because many of them have told us they're looking for a product that can scale a little bit more as their company grows, and model B1200i certainly provides that. Around the number of ESX servers, we still recommend that the VMware Essentials Plus is a great fit for all Drobos. Thinking about Drobo model B1200i as primary storage in a company with 250 fewer users is great. As secondary storage, tier 2 or backup in larger organizations. And the number of servers you might have in a larger organization for using for backup could be much, much more. Because at that point, it's less about the transactional performance and much more about price capacity in a backup environment where Drobo provides a great level of value there. The next question is, do you support MPIO with model B1200i? And the answer is yes. We support it today with the B800i, and you can use for multipathing in a VMware environment either of those products to have a multipathing solution. Now, MPIO from Microsoft is something that Drobo is working on providing better integration with. It can be used in a Drobo environment, and in a software release later in 2011, Drobo will be providing some enhancements around support for MPIO in that particular environment. But in virtualized environments today, multipathing is a way to achieve high availability and better utilization of the storage resources. All right, there's a question about 10 gigabit iSCSI connections. And I can confirm that today, Drobo's model B1200i is a gigabit Ethernet iSCSI product. There are 3 gigabit Ethernet ports. And this architecture, for the folks who may have caught it when looking at the hardware architecture, has provisions for a second controller potentially in the future. This particular product is a single controller configuration, but you may see in the future additional configurations from Drobo to take advantage of the available space in the system. We have no set plans yet as to when those type of models would be released from Drobo. So for the year 2011, you can see the Drobo model B1200i as being a single controller system. We do recognize that in the marketplace, 10 gigabit Ethernet is becoming much more cost effective and much more available in the marketplace. So we see a transition that once 10 gig base T solutions are on the motherboard of the average server that is shipping from major server manufacturers, that around that time it would be sensible from a cost perspective, the infrastructure on the server as well as the networking in the middle and the storage, to have something around 10 gig. So that's something to look for in the coming year. Next question about Drobo Care. Do you have to pay for software updates? And the answer is that with Drobo Care, you get them. If you do not have Drobo Care, we do have software updates on our website that you can download at any time. But with Drobo Care, you get the phone support and the ability to get response to particular support cases that you have with software. New software will be available to everybody, but with Drobo Care, you get the phone support to go with it. Thank you very much for your participation today and for your interest in Drobo products. If you have any questions that you want answered outside of today's webcast, I'd invite you to give us a call in the U.S. at 1-866-97-DROBO, or send us an email at sales@drobo.com, or on our website, we have a where to buy page where you can get Drobo model B1200i from a variety of organizations that sell IT equipment, as well as a network of value-added resellers that have Drobo product available to you. You can work with them. Odds are the reseller or company that you work with the most for your IT solutions, odds are they already carry Drobo and can provide you a solution based on Drobo if any of the information I gave you today is of interest. With that, I want to thank everybody again for their participation. I invite you to go to our website to ask questions or get additional information, and ask you to stay tuned as we roll out additional solutions based on this newest product, Drobo model B1200i. It's the biggest Drobo yet, and we're very excited about what it can provide to you in your IT organization. And we look forward to building on that with additional solutions in the marketplace that will help you lower the cost of your storage solutions and make your storage life a whole lot easier. We like to say the best storage experience ever. So with that, my name is Mario Blandini. It's been my pleasure to provide this information to you. We are Drobo. We provide a small box, but a big storage experience. Thank you again for joining.